is time once again for another nostalgia episode, and we are going to be returning to the Inspiron and the Latitude. And yes, I am on a StreamYard with State College, as Lancaster just finished unboxing his WR30 from Midland. So, if you may remember the last episode, we had some difficulty getting the Inspiron fully restored to its factory installation. What we did was we tried various methods. We tried to see if we could back up the files off of it, and it wouldn't get past it. And then when I looked at the errors that it gave, it said no additional partitions to back up. And I found the reason when I used this generic copy of Windows 10. So basically I put the CD in the machine and booted it from the disk, and it said that a media driver couldn't be loaded. So that indicated the problem. So what I'll be trying to do is doing another attempt at the Inspiron, and also in between, we're going to be restoring the Dell Vostro back to its factory installation. However, right now we're booting up the Latitude. It's still got to finish the updates that were successful. It had like 4 of them. I had to shut it off midway because I was out of time. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to first install the drivers for the Inspiron. Now, we can't do it via the USB because the machine, for some reason, doesn't want to recognize them. Hopefully Windows 10 will be a different story. But first, we're going to use this CD I created, which are all the drivers for this machine. So let's turn our attention there now. So basically, I downloaded all the drivers off of Dell's website for this computer. Now, whatever we can't install, it's okay. So if we open up the files, here they all are. So we are going to start with...
That's really cool so far.
Yep, so we're going to start with this... We're going to start with this TBM driver. I'm going to use the Windows 10 case so you all can see the screen. It is reading from a CD, so this will take longer than it usually does. And now the Latitude is restarting, and then eventually we'll be at the desktop on that, and we can get to work with the Vostro. That's the user account control. This is the Intel Turbo Boost monitor software. Continue. Yes. Okay. And we'll do, I'll just go ahead and run the other installers just like we did with the... And now this I installed last time was a generic copy of Windows 7 using the CD I created. So this doesn't have a product key attached. Signed exe title. This is the wireless display connection manager. So this would be the audio driver. This platform is not compatible or not in use. Well, we'll get back to that at a later point. But for now, let's move on to this next one. Yeah, this is from 2013. This is old. Dell Quickset from March of 2013. We're going to do the...
More than 10 years.
That's right, because when I was looking at the information on this specific computer, this thing was manufactured in 2012, which explains the Windows 7 sticker and the branding throughout on the keyboard and such. As I mean, at the time, in 2012, Windows 8 was also the main OS. However, very few computer OEMs chose to include Windows 8 in their computers. Like, for example, this HP, which did come with Windows 8. And yes, we will be restoring that computer back to Windows 8 in a future episode. So this next one, it finished, installed successfully. This is the processor control panel. That's a little tool that Intel provides that monitors the processor. This is the audio driver. Now, I'm not sure if Dell did anything with Realtek at this current moment, because I didn't know too much about. Because I mean, I only got my first Dell laptop in like 2015. This utility is only for PLDS. Alright, so that doesn't work. So I guess the DVD drive must have been replaced. But it's okay. Alright, let's move on to the chipset driver, but if we get any errors that this driver won't work, we can just skip those. Because I mean, I included all the drivers for the entire machine on Dell's website. So this is the chipset driver. We are finally getting in on the Latitude. Alright, so that was the card reader we just did. So now we're going to do the management engine. Next up is this D2D5DM1 driver. So that's a Seagate firmware update. So we're going to skip that. This is drivers for OS deployment. And it comes in these packages. So just like that one other driver, it comes in a security catalog. So let's move on to this monitor. Let's see what it's for. This is for Vostros, so that won't work. Touch monitor. This is for, here we go, Inspiron 5520. This is the model. You got to make sure that the models are correct before progressing any further. This is a monitor type driver for Inspiron 5520. That is the model we want, so yes. And it already comes in its own little folder. Oh, that's the same one we just did. Here's another monitor driver. Inspiron desktop, we want 5520. That's its catalog. And next up is digital delivery, which is a tool that Dell provides to re-download applications that you purchased. While we wait for that to load, let's go over to the Latitude, and I see it's got a few more updates that it has to do. So let's see which ones.
Do the updates do much?
Yep, I mean even after you install Windows, you still got to do a whole bunch of updates. Oh, it's currently installing other updates, so. Alright, we'll see, we'll let it finish that, and then we'll get back to it. So, in the meantime, let's go ahead and download the recovery media for the Vostro. And there's the digital delivery. Same error as before. I mean, then again, a lot of these updates won't work. And Dell Update is the tool that provides all the drivers and such for that particular machine. So we're going to go ahead and start the download of the Dell Recovery and Restore. Vostro 1540, that should be the one, though it said 1550. So we'll let that download. Management engine is done. No, I will not restart. This is that Turbo Boost tool, which we will not need. Package installed successfully. Okay, let's see what the, yeah, that's the audio driver that I need to restart. Alright, I'm gonna go back in here and let's install the display driver. This is a little newer, and this is the same design used nowadays, except the colors are different. I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention that. Of course, since this is the generic copy, it's got all the sample songs. Alright, this is the ELAN input device driver. That's for the touchpad. And all done. Changes will not take effect until you restart. We are not going to restart because we're in the middle of installing drivers. The BIOS is A07, so this is the latest, so we can skip that. And let's move on to the WI Max driver. That's the installer for the touchpad. There's that signed exe title again. WiMAX link for 5520. Yeah, that's what we want. So we'll go ahead and unzip the files. This is going to be the Pro set. Meanwhile, I'll go ahead and start the next one. This is the Pro set wireless software for the Wi-Fi card included in this computer. Now we can see that it says the adapter is missing, so that means the software is installed. However, we are going to be installing that adapter as we continue through this process. So I'll show you what we have installed right now. So you can see there's the Pro set. This is the monitor. That's the firmware. And it also opens up this README document. So this is the instructions. And we'll move on to this one. While we wait, let's head over back to the Latitude because the download is finished. So we're gonna unzip the folder. Okay, there it is. It says that it's empty, but we have a solution. So we're gonna, oh, what did it just open? XPS viewer. I don't think you get that in Windows 10. Anyway, we're gonna open up 7-zip and we will extract the files there. So just like last time, we're going to use the 7-zip program to extract the files. Alright, so this is what we have. We have MST, we have a data1.cab file. Oh, this is another one of those Seagate updates. Alright, we can just go ahead and close that because I said we'd be skipping it. So we're just going to move on to the network driver. Now, I am a little curious to see what was installed on this machine. So, however, we can't log in. So what I want to try and do first is break the password to get in. So to do that, we're going to have to use the Sethic trick, as I like to call it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the 64-bit CD of the generic copy of Windows 7 Professional, which is what this computer was pre-installed with. I'm going to use that disk to replace Sethic. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the boot. I had to fiddle around with the keyboard. Oh yeah, it's low in the setup. So now we're working with 3 computers. We're downloading the driver, we're downloading the media for the Vostro. We're installing the drivers on the Inspiron. We're trying to figure out how we can get into the system here. We're gonna go to repair the computer, Windows 7. No, we don't need startup repair. We're going into command prompt. View advanced options. Here we go. Command prompt. That's what we want. So this is the recovery partition on the hard drive, and the D drive is the operating system. So let's see what this organization used. It's got Newton. This has Office 2007. Wow, an older version of Office running on Windows 7? Dang. So, there were multiple partitions on this system. Anyway, we need to specify the drive. So, we need to copy Sethic. So, the last time this was used was 2018, and it says they removed Office and Office Professional. Let's see what other restore points are on this system. Looks like that's all of them. So the latest one was 2017, 2018. Man, this is pretty old. It had Chrome 58. One of my favorites, Google Earth. It's even got Google Earth Desktop. And it's even got Office Home and Business 2016. And it had Office Professional 2010. And then the rest of them are, I believe, security updates. So we got to do copy, yes, copy /y to say yes, that's what we want to do. That's going to be D Windows System 32. CMD, and then it's gonna replace D Windows Sethic exe. Okay. All right. So now it has been replaced. So we're gonna go ahead and cancel system restore and reboot. This is the ProSet wireless Bluetooth. This is HD graphics. This is the Bluetooth driver. Yes, install. Here we go. Here comes the display driver. You know what? Let's break into the system and just run Explorer. We're gonna run Explorer in the logon screen. Okay, next. No, I will not restart. Yep, just need to reboot. And that's for the network. There it is. There's the Explorer shell. Now we can see all the programs that were installed on here. And yes, of course, we're in a system. So now let's take a look at the complete lineup of apps that were on here. So this business had Adobe Acrobat 9. It's got Adobe Reader 10. Of course, it has Chrome. It's got Google Earth. They even have Firefox. They even had Mozilla Firefox on here. What else? Inkscape. I think I've seen that before. I don't remember. And then pretty much the standard stuff. And then we have accessories. Connect to a network projector. I think this business may have disabled Arrow. We have Dell Data Safe. There's a local backup. Service agreements. The Data Safe Online. Dell Support Center. Let's see if we can run the recovery from this. Dell Support Center. Last scan. A system scan has not yet been performed. I don't know what that error is. Oh yeah, it's the license agreements. Okay, we're going to go to backup and recovery. This says you have not created a copy of the original software image. Why don't we do that? To log on to your computer, type, okay, so we'll type okay, well, oh, look at that. This is the desktop right here. That is nice. All right. Well, let's see if we can So that's great. Let's go back in here and try it again. This is the factory installation, and this is what we're going to try and restore. Okay, so we have an administrator. We have Dwayne. So we are going to change the password for the Dwayne account. So let's change the Dwayne password. So we're going to do netuser Dwayne. So it's called netuser Dwayne. We should now be able to log in. However, we're going to need to restart because the machine is very unstable in that state. So it looks like we may be on the right track. But again, I had to force shut down because I can't restart when I'm using the Explorer on the logon screen. But that was cool. I got to run the Explorer shell on the logon screen. I had to try it because I'm not sure what's up with this keyboard. But so now we're going to repeat the same process as before, but we're going to use the new password. Like that. All right, so I do Control-Alt-Delete to sign in. And then we're going to type UAPC, the Dwayne account. So let's see if we can log in as the administrator. That says there are no logon servers available. And we have our first failure. Okay, so probably because another one is in progress, maybe. I don't know what this says. Let's just change the resolution so we can see. I don't know, we need to go into... Let's move these down so I can go into screen resolution. Let's change it to 1366 by... Hey, there we go. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, we'll finish on that. And there's the Bluetooth GUI. All right, now we have a much larger screen resolution thanks to that display driver. All right, let's execute more. Let's see. That's the one we just did. This one is that wireless card that we just tried. Why don't we give it another? Let's give it another go. We have options. Let's just hit log off, see what happens. That was cool. All right, let's go back into the Sethic here. I know there's not enough storage available. Okay, we may be in good shape. We may be in good shape with this Wi-Fi card. We got networks. We got networks. There they all are. That is amazing. It's going to go off and on for a little while. We'll install software and stuff. But then eventually we'll have everything. We can get that hooked up. So far we are struggling with this machine. A restart is required to complete. No, we will not restart. And we are done. Okay, perfect. So that's the Wi-Fi card that works with this computer. So now let's run the other one. That's the utility. So let's install it. That's if you intend on using a wireless keyboard or mouse with the machine. Hey, I was going to check on Windows Update, and it looks like it's ready to restart. Okay, so we've been able to gain access to the local users on this machine. However, we are getting a different error. I'll just log in as the Dwayne account, and when we try to, it says there are no logon servers available. There we go. We are on the internet. Tell that that's a home network. I'll show you what each of these buttons do. This opens the mobility center. What does this one open up? Ooh, a custom menu. And this opens the instant launch manager. So we can use that tool to assign a program or function. All right. So I've activated Bluetooth, but it's not doing anything. So let's cancel that for now. We want to ensure the best experience as possible. Sure. Welcome to Dell Recovery Basic Edition. Next. Factory recovery. This feature is not supported by your operating system. Create your factory media. Later. System backup upgrade required. Not having any luck, aren't we? Let's just see what booting in safe mode does. Rapid storage technology. Oh, that's not what I want. All right. So now we are going to need to install a better browser on here other than IE8. One of them being Microsoft Edge. So we're gonna download the latest browser from Microsoft, which doesn't work. No, we will not reboot at this time. Yep, we will need to restart. Let's see, where were we just at? We were at System Utilities is the next driver. So it looks like we can't get Arrow yet, but all right, let's see if we can log in safe mode. See if that works. We may finally be able to get in after fiddling around with this for almost half an hour. Oh, I just figured it out. We were specifying the domain because it said login as local computer, and here we are. It's about time. We fiddled around with this thing for hours and hours, and we are finally in. What a miracle. And it took me safe mode just to get in here, so that's awesome that we're finally in the system. This is good news. And I can see that the clock is way off, but we will fix that when we reset it. Let's see if we can run the reset in, say, Edmondson. Okay, so now that we're in, let's see if we can get it off the domain. So we're going to go into the properties here, and we will see, yes, this is Windows 7 Pro, Service Pack 1. It's not going to show an activation status, but we will change that. We're going to change settings. Advanced. You must be logged on as an administrator. Okay. So let's switch to the administrator account. All right, well, let's switch it to the administrator. Account has been disabled. Let's go back into the Dwayne account and see if we can try the recovery. So let's see if we can attempt the restore in safe mode. Dell Support Center is not designed to run in safe mode. So ESPN, this says ESPN offline draft. My gosh. Simply Safety, Sonic Wall. Symantec. Ooh, this has Windows XP mode. Oh, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a fun thing to try out once I get it working. Meanwhile, back over on the Inspiron, we're getting pretty close to a finished product. We are on the Rapid Start technology. And if we take a look, does not meet the minimum requirements. All right, we can't do that. Let's see what this Toshiba is. What were we going to try and do? Oh, yeah. Microsoft Edge. 5520. Yep. Continue. So I needed to install a driver for the USB, and now it works. All right. So what do we have to run to install? What do we have to execute? Does not work. This doesn't work either. Let's spam the errors. USB 5. Download for your device. Okay. Let's see what this is. Linux USB bootmaker. I guess that's, I suppose, if you're installing Linux. Okay, we are almost done. We have one more video driver set to install. We will be all set to go. That's the video driver. This is AMD. We have Intel, so we don't need it. And we're down to the last two packages. We have the VWD. No match drives. And this is Secure Systems Management. Continue. And we'll unzip the files. Okay, that should be all the drivers. This is the now preloaded reader. Okay, so that's all the drivers. So I'll go ahead and take out the CD. However, we do need to reboot for all the drivers to take effect. And I'll go ahead and delete these files. So we are going to restart, because it says a lot of the drivers need to reboot in order to proceed. So let's reboot, let's restart. This is the moment of truth. We have a welcome. There's the brightness. And if it all was done correctly, there it is. Windows Arrow. That is amazing. And it looks like it wants to restart again. Sure, why don't we? But look at that. We have the display drivers properly installed. So we got this thing nearly restored. However, I don't care if we install the Edge browser, because you know what's coming next? Windows 10. This is amazing. Windows 7 in its true glory. This is just reminds me of Mac OS already. We have a now fully restored system. This is amazing. We have the Windows Mobility Center, and this is all the Dell stuff. That is amazing. All right. Now, Before we actually go any further, however, there is still one more step we need to do. Since Edge will not install, I'm going to see if the Chrome browser does the same thing. If not, I'm going to try and put a secondary browser on there, such as Brave. And if I can get it installed, then it should be able to work. Let's go back to the Vostro. We need net user, username add. We're going to create a test administrator account. So we're going to name it test add. And then we're going to add it to the group. So net local group administrators, the test administrator account, and add it to the group. All right, now let's switch users. And if we go here, we should be able to log in as the test account. And yes, we are. Okay, so now we have a fully working administrator. Now we should be able to do everything that we want to do. Okay, so it looks like that's not going to work. So let's just put the Chrome browser on there for now. Meanwhile, let's head back to the Vostro. So now that we've created a test administrator account, let's see if we can log in. Let's restart. Yes, I want to continue. All right, let's restart. And let's see what happens. Oh, and of course I can't forget about my favorite, one of my favorite programs on Windows 7, the Purple Place. This is the memory. Yeah, we know how the game works. I think with this touchpad it's a little difficult. I think when they were coming up with this game, I think they got the inspiration from the classic concentration bonus round or something. And that just shuffles them all around. I like the advanced nature of this game, but it's too bad you don't get it in Windows 7 Professional. And you don't get any of these games with Windows 10 either. But I mean, some clever engineers was able to create tools that allowed you to restore the functionality of these programs in Windows editions that are normally not included with Windows editions that don't normally include this game. So I don't think this Inspiron would be the option for this stream. It's most likely going to be the Latitude. Yep, ran out of time. Okay, well, that was good. Alright, let's see if we can log in now. Hey, there it is. There's the test account that we had. And there it is. That was all it took. That's all it took to create a new administrator account in safe mode. And now, finally, we are in Windows 7 on this Dell Vostro. That is amazing. I am so happy. Although, it took a lot of work to get us here. So, now that we're finally in, why don't we take a look? So now we don't need to detach it from the domain because now we can perform the recovery. That's awesome. So let's go into the Dell Support Center and open up the PC Checkup utility, which we will do the restore on. But before we go any further, we got to run one of my favorite programs, Google Earth. I mean, it's been a while since I've done a Google Earth program. I mean, I was considering doing a Google Earth show, but unfortunately, it did not get us far. As it did say in System Restore earlier, this was running Chrome 58. So this must be an older version of Chrome, and it also means that it must be an older version of Google. And that also means that the version of Google Earth installed is older as well. And you will see right now. And we can see some of the changes the organization has done. Is that related to the display or oh yeah, it must be the background. I like the background too. That's pretty cool. So that definitely indicates that this is the factory installation. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a backup of the factory install, and then we're going to reinstall it. Yeah, this is very old. Oh, wow. Welcome to Chrome. You know, back in the day when my school had Windows 7, I was a regular Chrome user. But when I got this, I was still a regular Chrome user at the time. But then when Microsoft announced the Edge browser was going to be based off the Chromium engine, and my school started using that. So once my school's installations of Windows 10 began to include the Microsoft Edge browser, the new browser, the Chromium one, not the original, I actually started using that as my default browser, and it has been that way, and it's the same story for the computers back up in my office, my two computers that I have, the desktop and my laptop. This one as well, before the upgrade. And of course, since this is a new user account, we can just disable the tips. It's loading stuff. Let's see how the Vostro does against this. Oh yeah, it has my favorite tool, Flight Simulator. So then we can just zoom in on a ton of random locations. Let's just zoom into a random area on the map. I'm surprised that this Vostro, I'm surprised that this organization put Google Earth on here. I don't know what kind of purpose this organization was using, but whatever kind of purpose this organization was using it for, it must have been something different. I don't think this flight simulator works as. Oh, there we go. There we are. Help make Microsoft mouse and keyboard center better. What does that remind you of? That Windows Vista saying join the customer improvement program, which doesn't even exist anymore because it's been out of support for many years. Oh gosh, it's lagging. It is lagging. That is pretty unique. Let's just take a look at some of the other programs. Let's just take a look at some of the other programs like Adobe Acrobat 10. Okay, well, we figured that out, so I'll just go ahead and close the browser. What kind of language is this? Okay, whoever used this last, it's apparently in Spanish. What language is this? Spanish? French? Did they have this in French the last time? I think so. Alright, but anyway, here's the main reason we're here. Backup and recovery. And we are going to create recovery media. It says, create system recovery media to restore back to the way it was in the event of a critical hard drive failure. That's awesome. So, oh boy, I don't know how many CDs I have. Well, we're going to do a one-time restore, but then at a later point, I'll be restoring it once more. So, we're going to create a USB flash drive for now. Has a special protected section of the hard disk that can be restored. It is important that you create this recovery tool. And in fact, I will show you. So, like, can we start a recovery from here? Oh, we can do it from here. I guess I don't need the recovery after all. Okay, so I guess we can do it from here. We are going to restore the entire system to the factory state. Yes, here we go. Your computer will be restored to the way it was on January 30th of 2012, the factory image. This might take an hour or more. So apparently Dell has been like many other manufacturers. They've been including recovery partitions on their hard drives of these computers. And once we're done here, I might end up creating recovery media for use in the future should I need it. So, we're going to go ahead and finally clear the organization settings and restore this back to the way it was when it was first purchased, back in 2012. So here we go. So it took us hours and hours of fiddling around with the user accounts and everything, and now the restore begins. And meanwhile, I will finish the setup on the Inspiron. Ooh, it's working better already. Windows 7. Alright, so now we'll be booted to another screen. And this is the page right here. So it says, before restoring the machine, you can preserve files that have been added or changed since the backup. We do not need to do any of that because all of the data that was previously stored is stored on the organization. We cannot access the other accounts on the machine other than the one I just created. So this is as far as we can go. So we're gonna let everything be erased. And this is the final warning saying that everything will be erased and deleted forever, and only the C partition will be deleted, and the other partitions of the system will not be impacted. So, Yes, we want to do this. And away we go. The organization installation of Windows 7 is gone. And now we are restoring it back to the way it was when it was shipped from the factory some 11 years ago. This is great news. Okay, the restore is complete on this computer. What I'm doing here is I'm installing additional updates. And as for the Inspiron, the restoration is mostly complete. However, I've still got much bigger plans with this computer. So I tried downloading the Edge browser through Chrome, and unfortunately it gave me the same error. So I'm just going to leave the Chrome browser as it is on this machine. We should then be able to upgrade it to Windows 10, and then we will try the restoration again with the factory image. And speaking of the factory image, now the Vostro has its factory image. So now we will restart it, and now we will watch a brand new installation of Windows 7 from 2012 boot up and set up for the very first time, as it was when it left the factory years ago. Well, looks like that's it already. I guess all the software was already installed. And look at that, this is the original factory installation. I am very pleased. So now let's go through the setup process. You know the drill here, English US. We're going to use the standard username that I do. I'm going to say Vostro 1550 just to be sure that everything is as accurate as possible. We are not applying a password. This is Windows 7 Professional Service Pack 1, and this is the agreement for Dell. We're going to use recommended settings because I know there's still a bunch of updates to do. Again, the time is incorrect, so we need to correct it now. Presently, the time is 3:21:10. And since this already has all the drivers installed, we can just connect it to the internet. And we are just about done. It's finalizing all the settings. And there we go. Look at that. That is the factory installation. Unlike that other one we were fiddling around with just a few moments prior. Remember, like before, that had a generic background. It had the factory background, but it did not have the factory launch screen background. So that's what told me that the whole thing was managed by an organization. So those organization settings are now gone forever, and now we are once again free to use this as we please. That is just amazing. I didn't even have to create recovery media at all from that utility. That is amazing. Because I didn't know this had recovery media already built in, so that is just impressive. And the Latitude is ready to restart for those updates. And here it is. We're almost at the desktop. This is the final step. And these are some of the updates and usage data and everything. We click finish, and it looks like that's it. Because I'm seeing a personalized settings window. There's the factory background. I'll let you just see the window, what it's doing. It's setting up everything. And that is it. Everything the organization had on here is gone. And now we have a fresh installation of Windows 7 Professional, exactly as it was when it was shipped from the factory. Although I already noticed the mouse is not acting as good as it did before, but oh well, it'll work. But as you can see, that is awesome. All the organization stuff is gone. So it looks like some of the stuff did... Oh yeah, the virtual PC actually came with Windows 7. These are all the virtual machines, so... I wonder how we could set that up. So that is so cool. It's even got XP mode. So let's take a look. So we'll this is just like as if you were setting up Windows XP. Yes, let's start the setup. So if you had like Windows 7 Professional, Ultimate, and Enterprise editions, you could run a built-in virtual PC with a Windows XP mode. So that is so cool. I mean, I've actually seen a video on this tool once, but I don't think I've ever seen it get pre-installed by the manufacturer. So that is definitely worth looking at. I can control the brightness in the same fashion as we did with the Inspiron. That is awesome. And look, it even comes with its own internet security tool by Dell. Sure, go ahead. Go ahead and activate the protection, even though it's already insecure. So let's just see what Trend Micro does. So we had all that bloatware. We had Chrome, we had Google Earth, we had all that. I am glad I took a look at all that before I did the reset. But now, I actually want to see if I could install it inside of a virtual machine and just see what ends up happening. So I'm just going to create the recovery media for it anyway. So put in the USB, and it detects it right out of the gate. So that indicates a fully working system. That is awesome. And then we can go to back here to Dell Support Center. And yes, we will authorize it to run for the first time. This is coming up as new volume, which means there's nothing on it. But it is important that I create recovery media for this machine, just in case I ever have to reinstall Windows. So that's cool what you could do with XP mode. Now we're going to create recovery media for this computer. Let's see, XP mode is still setting up. Unsupported software. And see, it no longer supports your version of the software. And I don't think this thing even supports Windows 10 either. Alright, as we did before, we're going to do a USB. And that's XP mode fully installed. That is amazing. USB. Next. This is great. We have Windows XP mode installed inside of this. Yeah, we can run everything we want to on Windows XP. Should come with all the games and stuff. Oh, yes. Of course it comes with my favorite. Comes with my all-time favorite. The pinball game. I'll just let the demo run. Insert with at least 7 gigs. Once you've created, do not remove or add any files to it. Yes. Alright, the media has been created. That was fun. Alright, let's go and shut it off here. So we gotta hit Control Alt Delete and then shut down. We want to end this virtual machine. So that's cool that we can do XP mode on Windows 7. So that is amazing how we can do all this. So we have all three of these computers restored back to their original factory image. This is on its original factory installation. This is as close as we can get to the factory installation. This is on its factory installation. However, the one computer, the other two that we still need to do, is the Lenovo and the HP. So those are the other two that we still need to do. However, from what it looks like right now, I think the Latitude can do a better job with streaming capabilities. So I am considering using the Latitude for that reason. And then if that's so, I will update the layout as such. So I'll keep updating the layout as we go. So now here's what I intend to do with these computers. So next time with the Vostro, we're going to be installing updates and other programs that I would like to install on there. For the Inspiron, what we're going to do is we're going to be upgrading it to Windows 10. Yes, we're going to upgrade the machine to Windows 10 using the Windows 10 Update Assistant with the last supported version of the OS. You can see that's the Windows 11 logo. And to get Windows updates working, I actually had to install 2 other patches, both of which require a reboot. But we're going to be shutting them all down as we are done. And we are going to need the Latitude again next time because we are going to be creating recovery media for the Lenovo ThinkPad. And we are going to be using that media to restore it back to the way it was when it was shipped from the factory. And at some point on my Plainfield TV broadcast, I'm going to try and install the factory image from the Vostro and see how it acts on a virtual machine. I mean, the Latitude did great, but I want to see how the Vostro does, maybe. And maybe in future episodes I'll try other OEM installations, and maybe we'll probably do them all on a virtual machine and see how it goes. So now to shut them all down. There we have it. So that is amazing. Nearly everything has been restored back to the way it was when it was shipped from the factory. I mean, this really took a lot of work to get to where it is now. And so again, next time we're going to get the setup of that finished and install updates and programs and everything like that. And as for the Inspiron, we're going to upgrade it to Windows 10. And then for the Latitude, we're going to use it to create the factory media for the Lenovo ThinkPad. And then we will turn our attention to the HP, and then we will restore it to the way it was when it was shipped from the factory. This is already on the factory image, so it's good to go. This cannot get the factory image on there at all. So that's where we stand right now in the OEM recovery. But yeah, for future episodes, I'll grab other OEMs and see what I can do with them. Maybe see what they're like when we install them on a virtual machine. That'd be fun. So again, that's where we stand. We're nearly done with the factory restoration. And then in a future episode, the Latitude will also be upgraded to Windows 10. And then we will see if I can start a stream, specifically an NWR stream, with this computer, that would be amazing. Because remember, with the HP, we had a tough time doing so. And so what I'll do is I'll just get all the information off of there and move it on to here once I get it upgraded to Windows 10. And I would love to keep it on Windows 7, but if I'm going to use it for regular internet usage, yeah, definitely not a safe choice, because remember, it's no longer supported by Microsoft, so it's best that I upgrade it to Windows 10. As I mentioned, I'm going to leave it on 10 for a few more years, and then I'll upgrade it to a slimmed down release of Windows 11, and then it will remain on that for years to come. So, that is it. And so until next time, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.